So we're going to learn this routing first. So we need to create a new project. So ng new. That's how we create application. And ng routing app. Okay, that's what I'm calling it, routing. I'm just giving a name. You can call it anything. That will ask, would you like to add Anglo routing? Usually we tend to say no. I mean, when we were learning it, but this time I'll say yes. I want this Anglo routing. So what Anglo will do, it will add a extra file, anglo.routing.ts something, app.routing, sorry. So yes, and this will be a CSS. That's it. Okay, so new project will get created in this directory here, ng routing app. So let's see what we're up to. Not this one. So we are talking about some basic routing in Angular. Okay. So once this happens, I mean when we create a new project, we use this ng routing, then ng routing app. That's our application name. This will create a project, and when we uh, select yes for this question, a new file gets created. Okay, the file name is app.routing.ts dot module.ts. Okay, we will uh, this file. Okay, so everything will be there. Again, it's a simple concept. Let's see how it looks like. So project is already created. I can see here. Let's open this project here. This is the name. So I'll copy the path, go to this service, add open folder, give the name. App name should be here, and then select folder. Okay, and if I expand src, then app, I can see one file, app routing module.ts. Okay, it's app hyphen I added dot. So app routing module.ts. So what it has, let's see. So it says import something. Again, it's a module file, but module for what? For routing one page, like moving from one page to another page. Okay, so it has import ng module and import router module. These libraries will help us to add those path where, like, wherever we want, you can do that. Okay, now what should we add? Okay, let me show you first of all. I add it here, the content of this file, how it looks like. This is how this file looks like, the default or blank implementation. Okay, when this is done, let's create new paint, save to. Okay, it's done. What's next? So we need to verify when we are talking about this, not Eclipse, VS Code. So let's have a look on the main module file. Okay, if you guys notice, we have one module on line 4, app routing module. So when we do this, by default, Angular knows that we are adding one more module. It's a different module. This is a different module. App.module is a root module. So if we have two modules, so one should be treated as a root module. So app.module is a root module where you have to mention that how many modules this project has. So right now we just got one module, app routing module. So it should be there, and you guys can notice it is import where here under import array. So that's the next file content, that if you are creating any module file, it should be mentioned in your root module, that app routing module, and it's mentioned here. This is how we register. So application, the Angular application knows how many modules are there in advance. This, and where it goes inside imports array. There it is mentioned. And we also should know where it gets created. Directory structure should be clear. Here it is, and here we are. This file app routing module and app module.ts. There it is. Okay, and let's highlight this point. Okay, let's save this. Okay, so now we know what command will be helpful to create this routing module. Obviously, if you're not, let's suppose accidentally you don't want or not expecting that you would be needing a routing, so you can say no here. But later on, when you're supposed to add routing module, so then you need to create this file manually. You need to give the same name, app routing module, then add all this content as it is, then make sure that this newly created module is registered in the root module. Okay, so now we know what has to be done. Next, what should be done? So we can get to know that things are working fine. So what we will do, we will create some simple components. We are not here to learn components. We already know what is component, how to create components, and what's the use of components. So to keep it simple, I'll create some simple components. ng we'll go inside this src, then app src app here. So inside app folder, I'll create some components, 2-3 components. So we can switch from one component to another component, or we can route from one page to another page. So ng generate component, let's say user. So 4 files and 1 update happens here, and I can see user components here. It is inside app. Great. Let's create let's say about. I'm just visualizing one website which has a user, about, and let's add one more. That's a home. Okay, so we got 3 components. There it is. All 3 components get registered here. This is done. So basics is done. So we have these 3 components with us. Okay. So far nothing special. We just added a module file, a routing module file, and still it is empty. And we created 3 components, so we can move from one page to another page. Okay. Now we'll do what? We'll go back to the previous root component file, that is app component HTML and app component TS. TS I don't think we need it, but let's clear this component file. And we already, but we can use this for some contents. Okay, there it is. Instead of ng, I'll say Angular routing app. Okay, done. Then here we are in h1 tag. I'll use this interpolation tag and write title. Okay, done. Nothing new. We know what is that. And let's serve the application. So basically this page will show Angular routing app. Okay, it is up and running. Localhost colon 4200. Oops. Okay, so yeah, title is there. Great. Now what I want to create multiple hyperlinks. Okay, hyperlinks on HTML page here. So after h1 I'll use anchor tag and I'll name it, let's say, home, paste it, about, and last, user. The same three components. Okay, so idea is when I click on the respective hyperlinks, that particular component will get open. I'm not going to create that fancy, but it will create the concept of how to perform routing. Okay, done. Fine. If we check on this web page, that's how it looks. Let me zoom the page. So home, about, user. Right now we are not going anywhere, so because href is empty. Okay, but yeah, they are clickable. Clear. Now instead of using href, because that's the default property of any of this element, HTML element, we will remove this href and we will use feature of Angular. It has oops router link equals and default. So home page will be default, that means localhost 8080 4200, whatever the port is, and here it will be like about, and this will be user. Okay, just a second, guys. Okay, so yeah, we got three links ready. If I go back to web page, reload, I can see they got reset. They become again blue. When I click, still nothing is happening. Okay, fine. So that means whatever things we have given here, the router links, these must be registered somewhere. Some kind of configuration needs to be done. And after this, again notice we are on home page. So I need to add one tag which is mandatory when you are using routing, and this is quite common. You can open any Angular application. On the root page, you will see this tag, ROUTER hyphen OUTLET, router outlet. So whenever we click, the content of that particular component will get loaded here. This is a placeholder. This is the placeholder for loaded component. Okay. Oops. Okay, so below. This means the router outlet. Okay, we will see how it will impact. Now, important part. Once we have these links, so where to register them? So the right place is the module file. Here we will do that thing. Okay, so inside this export class routing module, it remains. Just thinking, should we keep this as it is, or routes? Okay, fine. This we will keep empty just for simplicity. And now notice on line 4, let me minimize. So on line 4 we have an array routes which says route, which is empty array. So we will open this and we'll create one object, and we'll create two things: path, that is default for now for the home, and I'll put a comma, single quotes, and then component. Which component should be loaded for this path? So here I'll say home component. And then what happened to you? Oh, not equals, it's colon. Okay, so what I just did, I have mentioned that for default it should be home component. Okay, comma, and copy this, paste and paste, because we got 3 links on component. So next one is about, copy it and replace here. If about is in the path, so it should load about component. Done. If it is user, so it should load user component. So path should be user, then only user component should get loaded. That's it. So we just registered 3 paths. Default will load home component. If I mention about in URL, so about component. If user, user component. Fine, and all these components are imported here. And class is again empty. We just created this route. We mentioned the route, and this got registered here. ng module, one annotation, like we tend to add annotation at top of Java classes. Same thing is here, same concept. This class is empty, but it is providing lots of feature by using this annotation. So this annotation says I have got 2 properties, imports and exports. So what I'm importing all the routes which is mentioned above, and it has an array of 3 elements. Cool. Let's go to this browser. Find homeworks, and you guys, can you guess from where this homeworks comes? It was not there earlier, right? It is coming from the HTML file homeworks. Home component, come on, works file saved, and yeah, message changing. Let me click about. Yep, URL got changed. Now it is about, and I can see about is working. Let's see user. Yep, the URL got changed and component is loading. So how it is happening? Because of that router outlet. If I, let me see, I never tried this. Let me comment. Okay, going back to the web page. Where is it? Here. So URL is changing, but nothing is loading. So it proves that that router outlet is a placeholder for our components. So when we click about, it goes to this and loads the component, but where it should no load on web page. So we give a placeholder that it should be on router outlet. So this is a kind of a default or internal class which helps us to load all these things. It's a part of a routing library. So that's it. It's working. So home, about, and user works.